Go to meet him, August. Gus Cahimera go will me go han brodo will. Ave Ledsha and Ur and La Gal Allin Shaw Eganoich Nifa. 100 years ago, on Easter Monday 1916, in the centre of Dublin, a small band of revolutionaries proclaimed an independent Irish Republic. This group of poorly equipped Irish men and Irish women took on the might of the largest empire the world had ever seen. It was an empire built on conquest, brutal force, coercion and repression. And following 6 days of heroic resistance, the centre of Dublin lay in ruins. The leaders of the provisional government met for the last time in 16 Moore Street and ordered a surrender. They were court-martialed and 15 were executed over the following 2 weeks. Roger Casement was later hanged in London. And today we have retraced the final journey of 14 of those leaders. Following their execution in the Stonebreakers Yard at Kilmainham Jail, Thomas Clark, Thomas MacDonagh, Padraig Pearse, Edward Daly, Michael O'Hanrahan, Willie Pearse, Joseph Plunkett, John McBride, Con Colbert, Eamon Kent, Sean Houston, Michael Mullen, James Connolly and Sean McDermott were brought here to Arbour Hill. Agus fin na Sasanig a Geru splunk na Saoirse an Uran a Bucku, the Medj agus Lewis na Bassana, ach ni Ro an Ceart Acu, Hagan Iria Mock, agus an Cogu a Hanig an Yay Sampla, Alana le an Fud an Dons na Horhiella, a Ro an Bratton a Goacht on. Ag Creelar Iria Mock ni Jeg as a Shejeg, na Foblocht, Njavsblock na Hurin Bunu. And not just any republic, but a republic that was uniquely democratic and egalitarian. But civil war, the counter-revolution, saw the partition of Ireland and the creation of 2 conservative states in place of the 32-county republic, which was the aim of the Rising. The North became a one-party orange state, where Irish nationalists were excluded from power and denied opportunity. And as we all know, that power and privilege was imposed and protected by British guns. Republican resistance was offered at various stages over the decades. In the late 1960s, the violent state response to the democratic demands of the civil rights campaign developed into a full-scale armed conflict. And today, and we are very clear about this, we pay tribute to the men and women of 1916 and to those men and women in every decade since 1916 who stood by Ireland and stood by the Republic. Our country and our people suffered hugely as a result of the conflict in the 1970s, the 1980s and the 1990s. But huge progress has been made in recent years. The peace process and the Good Friday Agreement marked a historic shift in politics on this island. For the first time, the roots of conflict were addressed and a democratic route to Irish unity was opened up. But there's still more to be done. The scourge of sectarianism must be tackled and ended. Here the effects of partition and the counter-revolution have been less spoken about. It's time to address this. In the Civil War, the forces of conservatism, the church hierarchy, the media, and big business all supported the Free State regime and opposed those who held out for the Republic proclaimed in Easter week 1916. Shaw and Rudd, a Fagan Lynn, or Gerry and Ash na Foblachta. Most of what happened since then is a travesty. The South developed into a narrow-minded, mean-spirited state, which was harsh on the poor, on women, and on Republicans or radicals of any kind. Our native language was devalued and subverted. Most, if not all, of our renowned writers were banned. Censorship was rife. A false morality was imposed on our people. And the scandals we have witnessed recently emerged from this post-colonial condition. As Clonlassie, Nadina, in Erin, Sala, Ata, and Yuan, and Fear Foblach Shin Akrohu. This state is not the Republic proclaimed in 1916. Current efforts to pretend that it is are an insult to the brave men who lie here. A genuine republic would not allow homelessness to reach emergency proportions, would not tolerate the scandal and indignities in our hospital A&E wards, and would not facilitate the high levels of disadvantage, child poverty and inequality which exist in this society. Imagine an Ireland where a public health service and affordable childcare was there as a right. Imagine an Ireland where a home is a right and not a dream. Imagine an Ireland where your children can live, work and raise your grandchildren. Imagine an Ireland where everyone pays their fair share. Imagine an Ireland, all 32 counties, that is a good place to grow up in, to grow old in and to enjoy life in. Ura a Yano and Dokas, a Ta, a Farogra, a Cor a Grek, Shin and Galunch a Well Ugging. Because such an Ireland is possible. But we don't need reminded that the political system and sections of the media in this state remain deeply conservative and partitionist. Those who oppose political progress and the ideals of the proclamation remain influential within the political and media establishment. And some are on a new crusade to revive Redmondism and to denigrate the leaders buried here in Arbour Hill. Atashe Anam doing Cor Aginia, practice Atami Ainrock August Lofa. Connolly described Redmondism as a carefully staged pantomime to fool nationalist Ireland. He said that Redmond's party would send forth more thousands of Irish men and boys to manure with their corpses the soil of a foreign country. Isn't it strange that those who worry about honouring the 1916 leaders and that this might be retrospectively justifying violence say nothing about Redmond's role in sending tens of thousands of young Irish men to fight Germans, Austrians and Turks with whom Ireland had no quarrel whatsoever. "38 million people died in that imperial adventure. Was John Redmond not a man of violence? Ireland, as a submerged nation within the United Kingdom, was carried into the First World War without any say in the matter. This is a democracy which the new Redmondites claim would have led inevitably to Irish independence That is total and absolute rubbish and nonsense. The only way that people have ever attained freedom is by taking freedom, and that is the lesson of 19 and 16. The Irish experience of the Great War up to 19 and 16 was one of the factors which led to the Rising. And after the Rising and the executions and the repression that followed, many Irish men and women, mostly men who had fought in the British Army, rejected that army and joined the real army, the army of the Republic, the Irish Republican Army. The notion that Britain had fought for the freedom of small nations was exposed as hypocrisy when the British refused to recognise and suppressed instead the first Dáil Éireann. And I suspect that behind the latest Redmanite crusade is a fear, not of violence, but of the 1916 proclamation, which enshrines principles of equality and Irish sovereignty that still challenge the privileged and the elites in our society. It is a metaphor for our times that in this centenary year of the 1916 Easter Rising, the relatives of the 1916 leaders and their supporters should be forced to go to the High Court in order to save our national heritage at Moore Street. While the state, what did the state do? The state defended the interests of the property developer. So I commend the relatives who took this case. The state lost, the government lost, the relatives won. I want to especially thank our comrade Colin O'Muragha, who took the case. It is not a surprise, therefore, that the recent proposal for a 1916 banner erected by the Dublin City Council in Dublin's College Green, which doesn't feature any of the 1916 leaders, came from the Taoiseach's department. That banner is in line with the government's initial video released to promote the 1916 celebrations. And this video did not include any reference to the men and women who fought in the Rising. But the most important thing to come out of that period of our history is the proclamation. And that remains the mission statement for modern Irish republicanism and for Irish Republicans today. It's our freedom charter. It's for all the people of this island. It guarantees religious and civil liberties. It promotes equal rights and opportunities for all citizens. The proclamation is also a declaration of social and economic intent for a rights-based society in which the people are sovereign. Agus plain in Hedge Lynn, Yanan Forwar Nadini and Uran, Agus Harlar, Comoru, An Brodowal, or Iriamak Nijeg, Ashejeg, Agus Uran Forogra, and Publicta. The centenary celebrations, and let us remind ourselves of this, would be incomplete without due recognition being paid to the American connection. The Rising was funded, after all, by Irish Americans, the children of Gortamore, the Great Hunger. Most of the 1916 leaders had visited the US at one stage or another. Connolly spent 7 years of his life there. Tom Clark also lived there. So our friends from Canada and our friends here from the USA, let's give them a huge bullabus. But the men and women of 1916, like the hunger strikers of 1981, were about the future. So this centenary year has to be a year for looking forward. It is a historic opportunity to look realistically towards ending partition, ending division, and ending sectarianism. It is an opportunity to see how we can make the united, independent Ireland envisaged in 1916 a reality, and a reality in our time. And that should be the goal of all the progressive political forces on this island. It suits the government to have a closed down, to have a militaristic, to have a staged commemoration of these events. It suits the elites. What does not suit them is a national conversation about how we bring about a real republic on this island, and we need to promote actively all of those aims and objectives. And a united Ireland, that means the unity of the people, including those who see themselves as British. And that is why an Irish government should be pursuing every avenue to promote all Ireland cooperation, to promote reconciliation, and to build relationships between all our people. And that must include genuine efforts to outreach to the Unionists on the basis of equality. And I want to commend the work that's been done by Martin McGuinness and our team in the North as they reach out to our Unionist neighbours. There's also a need to undo the ingrained partitionist thinking by policymakers. They don't face towards the border, they turn their backs on the border. Enda Kenny, in my humble opinion, thinks the North is a foreign country. Let us tell him loudly and clearly, Ireland is Ireland, all 32 counties. So there never was a better time to plan and to deliver on an all-Ireland basis. Many aspects of the Good Friday Agreement and subsequent agreements need to be implemented. There is an urgent need for the Irish government to face up to the British government's refusal to fulfil its obligations. And there's also an ongoing need to enlist the support for this necessary endeavour of our friends internationally, including and especially in the USA. It's no accident, and many of us have found this many times, that Irish America and its representatives have often been more informed, more involved, and more progressive than successive governments here. It's also clear that had Pearse and Connolly and their comrades gone on to form a working government, Ireland today would be a better place and a fairer and a more equal society. So that is the challenge facing us. We must give our children the best possible chance to fulfill their potential and to live happy, full and contented lives. We love Ireland. We value this small island. But it's the people who are at the centre of our core values of equality, liberty and fraternity. So our resolve must be to end all divisions and to unite our people. In conclusion, I want to single out the contribution of women in our struggle. Women have always been discriminated against. The proclamation recognises this. At a time when women didn't have the vote, the proclamation addresses itself to Irish men and Irish women. And Sinn Féin is very clear about this. There can be no Saoirse na Huireann gan Saoirse na Mon. Both Connolly and Pearse praised the women of 1916. Before the volunteers left the GPO, Padraig Pearse told the women who were there that the fight would not have lasted so long without them. And he said, when the history of that week would be written, the highest honour and credit should go to the women. But of course, the women were written out with some exceptions of that history. We have not only to rewrite our history, to rewrite our women back into that history, but to make sure, not as an act of a gift from us as men, but as their right, that women have equality on this island of ours. So we salute them. We salute our sisters who fell in our phase of the struggle: Maura Drum, Mairead Farrell, Sheena Campbell, all the other fine women who made us stand and suffered for that. And as we stand by the graves of our lost leaders, let us be clear. The reactionaries, the revisionists, the naysayers, the begrudgers, the modern-day Redmonites may pontificate and waffle about how wrong 1916 was. We have a word for that. 1916 was right. The men and women of 1916, of the Rising, were right. It was republic against empire, republicanism versus imperialism. And we know whose side we are on. We stand by and we stand for the republic. Pearse put it well. He told his court-martial, standing there on his own, he said, you, he told the senior British officers facing him, you cannot conquer Ireland. You cannot extinguish the Irish passion for freedom. Connolly also faced his court-martial unbowed and unbroken. He told them, we went out to break the connection between this country and the British Empire and to establish an Irish Republic. Comrades, friends, brothers and sisters, that is our resolve also. Beigi Lynn, join the Rising and Foblocht Abu, Goramila Margov.
Gurmaila Mahagut, Gerry, in the course of Gerry's remarks, he mentioned one of our comrades, Colm O'Mora, and I'd like to invite you, Colm, to please come up onto the platform. He looks most reluctant, so give him a bula bus to encourage him. Can I also, we have Angus O'Snoddig, can I ask Martin McGuinness, Joint First Minister, to come up also, please? So this is Colm O'Mora, and this is the primary person behind the action, the court action taken against the state. And this is the person who led the charge in the courts to secure Moore Street, to secure the laneways of history, and to stop this delinquent government from bulldozing history to erect a shopping mall. So give him your warmest appreciation. So well done, Colm. And we have a presentation that Gerry and Martin and Angus O'Snoddig TD shall make to you. Turn for the... And if we can just thank Ken, who's here taking photographs, for so beautifully engraving the proclamation. Gerry míle maith agat, Ken. Well done. So, Gerry maith agat galéir agus Arish Mahu Cullum. Those of us who know Cullum, all of you know, he is the most self-effacing and demure almost person in the world. So thank you for coming onto the platform. Well done again. So I am asked to remind you that tomorrow the Citizens' Army March will meet at 11 a.m. at Liberty Hall. And to remind you, of course, that there will be commemorative events right across the country and indeed beyond. Here in Dublin, the march meets at Berkeley Road, I think at 1:30, and going to Glasnevin Cemetery. So those of you who are in the city, please do come along and join us. Agus Sanish, Chorja Gael, thank you again for being here. Thank you for making this a really special commemorative event. A special word of thanks to our friends from Canada and from the United States of America for your support, for keeping faith with the Republic, and for being here with us today. So it now falls to me to call the proceedings to order and to invite Councillor Kathleen Carney-Bowd to come to the platform for the singing of Auron Navian.
Out of we allegeren Buin our slow our tender anicuin we void verser Shantira Shinsher Fasta Niakfer Fuentira of Fuentra and of times of Arn of Will look an Arguechum Bos no Sil Lagonis Greg Fuilovic na Bele Shan live Canig
Gur maithagibh agus Arish Amórach. The Citizens' Army March, 11 o'clock at Liberty Hall. So thank you all again most sincerely for being here. Thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you again to the Cabra Historical Society. I think they deserve another bool of us. And as we leave, we ring out the message. Up the Republic on Fublocht Abu. Gur míle maith agam.